Joining me today is Andrew Crossley. Andrew, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Cole. How are you doing yourself?
Yeah, good. We were just talking off camera there, but I'm back to working from home. I've got like a new little setup here, so we're trying it out. The sound might be atrocious, but the only way to find that out is to do a podcast. How about yourself?
Yeah, same. So I'm working from home. I'm used to working from home. So I'll probably talk about a lot of that in this podcast. But yeah, how are you finding it? Because I know last time we spoke, I think you were in your bedroom, aren't you? But now you've got like a spare room set up. So you find it sort of a bit more workable around that rather than trying
Yeah,
to do everything in your bedroom.
yeah. So work from home for me was all right, but
Yeah.
I didn't like working from the same place that I sleep and play video games and stuff.
Mhm.
I wanted that sort of divide.
Yeah.
And this was just a spare bedroom sitting here, so I thought, why not? It was my younger brother's room. He's now at uni, so it was just a room that was empty.
Happy days.
Um,
Like goodbye. Taking that room now.
but one compromise is that is a sofa bed. So if he ever does come back, it can pull out for a bed. So I thought
Happy
ahead.
days. Yeah.
The entrepreneur inside me thought ahead. But yeah, it's fun. It's nice to have a little space that has that divide. And I've started doing little touches here to make it on brand and things and make it look nice with some fake plants. You can't go wrong with fake plants.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so little touches here and there, and it might improve from now until the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
How about yourself? I see you've got quite good setup behind you as well.
Yeah, so in front of me, I'll be able to kind of take this off and show you. We've got like a whole plant kind of wall here. So that's a bit more creative than the sort of background that I've got at the minute. But let me just sort that out. There we go. But yeah, sort of I try and make my workspace sort of workable around what I'm into. So I've got like I love coffee. I love working in coffee shops. So I've tried to make like a coffee board there in the background. I've got like little Batman and Joker figures because they're my favorite kind of heroes, and plants, which I think are important. It's like nice to get greenery. I'm into like nature style places. So I think it's important. So it kind of represents who you are as a person and what you're into. But as you said, it's you can do so much to it, but then I think after a certain period of time you need to sort of break that up in a certain way. So I like get sick, and if I work down the kitchen, the cats are meowing at the door, and I'm like, oh god, I need to sort of get out of this place. And that kind of comes to why my sort of business is the sort of way it is now. Let me just sort this out because it's slipping. There we go. So Wocal, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, I think it's just important to have them little snippets. And as your spare room, it might gradually have more things in that represent you as a person and sort of what makes you creatively think.
Yeah, I think you've got to create a space that you want to be in.
Yeah.
It'd be no good making this into a spare room that I don't want to go in.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. You want a space that lets you be productive. And so far this week, it's been pretty productive once I got everything together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So Andrew, your startup is called Wocal. Do you want to tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. So Wocal at the minute is an online platform that allows freelancers, entrepreneurs, students, startups, and individuals find workspace, but within public venues. So this could be coffee shops, hotels, restaurants, and pubs, instead of sort of co-working space and office space. So this is aimed for people who are starting businesses and sort of want to find a workspace for the day without paying like maybe £200 plus. For people who work from home, so again, kind of going back to me and you there, it's important to break up that routine or your mental health starts going crazy. It starts to be one space fits all kind of situation. So your workspace, where you sleep, where you eat, where you drink, and kind of going on to that. And that to me just sounds mentally depressing. So we're trying to help people find spaces within these venues. But what we're trying to fix in this situation, and our biggest mission, is connecting people in real time rather than over the phone, rather than kind of over video. And that's going to be the hardest thing to do, because I think people are still obsessed with Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that. But I think people are looking to be more social and take away less media. And people are starting to look and to reconnect in a way and learn more. So we want to do that in real time rather than having to go to a networking event and kind of go, here's my business card, give me a call, and sort of repeat that. It can be like, do I want to do that? So, and it's based on that person. So for me, it's only important for me to connect with people who are in my sort of demographics, right? And for me to do that, I would have to go on LinkedIn, have to search for that, and then hopefully they'll open the message and don't ignore me, or I'll just be like, please message me back quickly. So we want to bring that face-to-face back to where humans sort of started and take away the media. But we're using technology to be able to do that. So we all know restaurants bring people together across with foods that we all enjoy. Drinks, it's always been a place for events. I've always seen people do interviews there. So I think it's time for that change now, and to be able to add that ability to be able to do that while making sure that space is creative for you as an individual, if that makes sense.
No, it's very cool. So what stage of entrepreneur do you see sort of using Wocal? Is it, sort of freelance, kind of toying with an idea, not really not building a team yet, sort of solo founders?
Yeah, so I think anyone, definitely freelancers, because freelancers either have a side job, which would be the main source of income while working from home. So they're a huge demographic for us, one of our main users, because again, they like to break up that routine. And definitely individuals. Teams, again, because they can book team spaces where our restaurant partners will be able to deliver different types of food. They can have a chat around an open table. So it's different ways of being able to introduce that for not just individuals, but as groups altogether. Because right now, as a business, I don't really need an office anymore. Like, I would need it probably to get investments and stuff like that. But again, we're very little overheads. It's just me and Hubert. So we don't need that office space. And again, teams are no longer like, if someone starts a business now, they might have like loads of freelancers around the UK and might only go, right, let's have a meet up once a month. Let's meet in this restaurant. But for going back to solo people, solopreneurs and individuals, it's critical for me, and this again goes back to the biggest mission, is these people have an idea. So there's about maybe 5,000 startups every single day, which is crazy. I didn't even think it was that big. Now, if you ever remember, like if you ever had your first business idea, you would share it with your friends and your family, and they'd be like, okay, cool. Like they wouldn't be like as energetic as you are at that time, at that critical moment when you've had this amazing, great idea. And it's hard in that time to stay motivated because you need to be disciplined. And this is only by me learning by failing a lot of different things, is you need to be disciplined. You need to really feel the value in what you're doing. And if you're telling people and sharing that and they don't kind of see it the way you vision it, you start to lose a bit of hope. And you start to lose that vision because you're connected with the wrong people. Which brings me to the second thing. We want to connect that person, but we want to connect them to people that will help that person grow in that space. And I think that's one of the biggest aims, because again, it's at the critical time to connect with the right people to go, hey, actually, your idea is good. I can kind of guide you on this. I can guide you on that. And learning again from people rather than, hey, Google kind of situation. And I think that's our biggest mission, to connect these people as a starting up with the right people and feeling valuable and feeling like their ideas are actually possible to do. You just need to connect really with that right person or that right tribe, let's say.
Yeah. So connecting with sort of like-minded people just to bounce ideas off and things like that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And obviously, you said you work from home. When did Wocal start? Was it an idea that you had in your head for quite a while, or was it a COVID
Yes.
idea, or tell us
So
about that?
it sort of came up before COVID. So I think it was around sort of mid 2019, just as an idea at this point. So me and my friend were freelancers. I was working as a videographer. My friend was working as a developer and coder for another company. So we were both working from home. So we would try and get out maybe 3 times a month. And like we would go into Newcastle. It was one of our favorite places to go. And we would try and go to different places every single time just to explore the city a bit. And I remember, I think it was Grey Street. We were just walking down Grey Street. We just come out of a coffee shop, had a really good breakfast, but we couldn't really work because the Wi-Fi was terrible. So that was the first point. Breakfast made up for that, though. So we were walking down Grey Street, and we were looking on Google, we were looking on TripAdvisor, all these search engines just to find somewhere that had okay reviews, see if there was anywhere that said this place has good Wi-Fi. Nothing available. So we were standing there 5-10 minutes. It's just 5-10 minutes that I don't want to spend trying to find or guess a place. So I remember turning to my friend and I said, I think I've got a project idea we can work on. And that was it. But we were both in this position where we're always going, let's do this project and let's do that project. And, as friends do. So it never became like a kind of true idea at the time. It was just like let's work on this. So, and then I think, early 2020, COVID hit. I had sort of a base of Wocal and what it's going to do. And it was only just going to be a platform for finding workspace, which to me wasn't really good enough. I needed it to be more than that. I needed it to be sort of have a bit more value and to be sort of different in what we're going to do. So 2020, COVID had hit. The hospitality industry lost about over 30 billion in revenue. I mean, that's crazy. The energy prices have just increased for us and businesses. Crazy. Everything gone up, basically. I was trying to remember the word for it, but everything's gone up in price. So we're facing a huge issue now. And then we've got people who are deciding to still continue to work from home. So I think we need that sort of place to go, right, we need to support our hospitality industry. This is a way for them to do it by advertising on the platform. Straight away, it's an investment if they get more than one Wocal user, which is great. So it's just a way of advertising, and we're trying to support local economies by doing that, by saying, right, to this user, this place is remote friendly workspace. Because I don't know if you've worked in a coffee shop before and you've been there for like a long time and you've maybe had one coffee. The manager will be staring at you like going, why hasn't he gone yet? Like, people want to come in. It's still kind of quiet, actually. There's no one looking to take up the seat. But the best thing is we understand from a hospitality representative that, like, in terms of the hospitality, how they see it is that they want people in and out, but that isn't going to be 24/7 because there is times when they're not as busy and they need people in. There's loads of places in Newcastle I go to and there'll be me and my friend and that's it, and maybe like 3 or 4 other people come in over a period of a few hours. It's a great place to work from. So straight away they're missing out on this huge market that's available to them, and being able to connect these people again locally. So that's what we're trying to sort of deliver in that, and how we sort of came up. So working local. So we're in Newcastle. We want to work local, and then the industry went terrible. So then Wocal became much more of a bigger thing that I had to kind of go out. I need to be like, right, I need to help. And in some way, shape, or form, that Wocal was my way of trying to help the hospitality industry sort of gain a new revenue stream and footfall for that business. So it was ready to go. We started testing it out on certain venues. they're allowed to make their own rules. So again, it depends on what they want from a user. We don't want people sitting there for 6 hours over one cup of coffee, and we totally understand that. So that's their total freedom. And then I think I was ready to launch it, and then I can't remember. Yeah, I was ready to launch it. This is like probably my fourth startup. I was ready to launch it. I thought this is great enough. And then as I was about to launch it, I came up across an error, and I was like, oh no, this has affected like a few pages. So I need to do this. And then again, so we're actually ready to live launch in April. Everything works fantastically. We've got partners on board already. But yeah, it just kind of happened over a period of time of going from 2019 to facing this issue as trying to find workspace to COVID had hit, massively impacted the industry. People are looking to connect face to face more. They're not like Facebook is there. And then, you know, we kind of continue that way. So I think it's a great time to sort of get this out. And I think the hospitality industry have already started to kind of look at different revenue streams because they need to. And I think this COVID impacts a lot of things. You need to rethink the way you're going to do business and how you do things. And I think that's one of them.
No, I like it. And as you said, 13 billion lost in the hospitality sector.
So over 30 billion, I think it was in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure how much it was last year, but again, it'd probably
but still that's a staggering amount.
Yes.
And so how do you approach these hospitality businesses with your idea? Sort of, yeah, the benefit of getting people into their space, that's one benefit. But what are the other benefits for the hospitality industry?
So the benefits for them is, like most of the restaurant partners that we work with, see the benefits of that they're supporting local people who have ideas, and most of the time they love that. They see an insight in revenue. So obviously, when we live launch in April, we've got sort of a revenue calculator that enables them to sort of pre-guess what they need. So it's a revenue, it's a footfall, it's a different way of advertising, and we're looking to have partners that are going to help them increase the business over time. So one thing that we're massively looking at is making sure that we can get a good partner that deals with energy. So although we're really community focused and user focused, we want to make sure that all our restaurant partners get other benefits from this. So we have a 5-year plan on how to increase their business revenue, how to get add-ons to increase customers. And I think that's, again, an important task. So we're trying to look at the venue and go, right, they've got just a website where they're just advertising. What more can we give them that's going to benefit them? They'll have access to the community straight away. So let's say if we go in, I'm a videographer, go as in a freelancer, they see that on the Wocal network, they might go, hey, Andrew, can you shoot us a video? So it's just giving back to the community equally. And I think that's the biggest seller of all time.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's full circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You help, they help. It's great. And you said Wocal's your 4th startup?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your previous 3?
Yeah. So the first one was my video business. So the video, sorry, is it even 4? Might be 3. But the first one was my video business. And when I say fail, I don't mean I fully failed it. I take that a lot of people look at the word failure as in, oh, that's it. It's kind of all doom and gloom. It's not. So I may come back to that a bit later on, but Andrew Crossley, I started as a videographer, and I was working as a salesperson for a company just down the road. And I've been trying to get out of the sales industry for 7, 8 years. And I was like, right, I can't get into the videography roles because they all want uni students. I don't have that experience. I'm just kind of self-taught in everything that I do. And I was in a really bad place, and I kind of had this decision whether it's either this or this, and I can't continue doing the sales the sales thing. So I kind of quit my job. I was broke. So it's probably the worst time to do it, but I was broke. It kind of didn't stop me. My girlfriend helped me buy a camera, a really good camera. And I just started shooting videos around the city, doing some nice B-roll, putting it on YouTube, trying to figure out how YouTube works. And I remember the first quote I got was huge. Like, I remember coming home from like the first day of doing some marketing, and I got this guy on the call. He was like 15 grand, my first client. And I was like, I would have had to get actors, the other producers in, and I was like, fuck. I'm just like putting this together, but I have faith in myself enough that I'm able to deliver it the way I see things and sort of vision things. So we had a discussion. We talked about how it's going to work. It never pulled through. The guy just disappeared. And that happens in business. You might go, I want this, then I want this doing, and it just never happens. And I kind of got used to that from working in sort of different positions. So then I got another client. It was to design a mobile video, 400 quid I quoted him. It took me a month, and I was exhausted. Just keep kind of making these changes. I was exhausted. And then it kind of just got to a point where I started going out and actually shooting the videos. And it wasn't the way I visioned it when I first started. It wasn't my vision of as I'm going to go into this company, I'm going to give them this storyboard, and we're going to shoot it, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It wasn't. It was, hi, Andrew, we've got this great idea. I would then share my idea. They'd be like, no, this is our idea. We want to stick with it. And it was just a continuous pattern of that. So I was like, this isn't really what I wanted, but I enjoyed it. So I continued making YouTube videos in where I felt comfortable and what I'm trying to deliver. So I stopped the videography business. That, and I say again, failure isn't really a failure. It's just a lesson learned that it isn't actually what I need to continue to pursue. I learned that I needed to be more in a filmmaking role where I can be a bit more creative minded, open minded, and have like that freedom. So then I was like, right, okay. And then I was trying to think of what values I have, what kind of skills I have. I can sell, but I don't want to. Like, before I start this podcast, I'll be honest, like a lot of people probably go, or like any sort of interview, you're like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. And that's where we start to grow as people. Like when you're feeling a bit like, oh my God, I'm about to have a panic attack, or I'm anxious, like what's going on? I don't know what's going to happen. And that's when we start to grow. So I tried to chuck myself in the deep end. And then the second business was Rise It, an SEO agency, social media agency. And I remember telling my girlfriend, I was like, I'm going to make 4 or 5 grand a month. It's going to be wicked because everyone needs social media. Everyone needs SEO. And I think for the first 4 months, I started earning 4 grand just to post social media content. I was like, this is amazing. And then it kind of died off. And then that was a word of mouth from my video client, by the way, who I worked for a month for and paid £400 for. He recommended me that guy who then I started earning 4 grand off. So even though I hated that guy at the time, being like, I've like done a month, it spent me like 400 quid for like working on a month. Like I should go back to full-time employment. But it was the same guy. So then I was like, okay, this means word of mouth is really working for me. And again, it's kind of gone on to the next type of business. So Rise It, and then I was like, the competition's really mad. I kind of have freelancers again. It's not really what I want to do. I need more value. What is it? Again, sort of breaking down and going, I'm just trying things. I'm trying to like find out what it is, what my purpose is. And that's when you're in a sort of really dark position. So then from Rise It was Wocal, which hasn't failed. So yeah, 3. So Andrew Crossley and then Rise It. But from all of them 2 companies now, I know how YouTube marketing works. I know how to create videos, which is really great for marketing. I know how social media works because I had to learn how to make it for Rise It to be able to do it for companies. So when people see things as a failure, they go, oh, well, no, it's a lesson. It is, you haven't failed. You fail in terms of, like, if you start one business and it doesn't go to plan, and then that's it, you kind of go back to your full-time job, that's failing, because you haven't realized that it's just a lesson. It's just something in the road that's blocking you from moving further forward. And I expect that. I chuck myself at it sometimes, because it's just a part of the process. And I think people need to kind of understand that a bit more. So although I say it's a failure, I stopped doing this and I stopped doing that, I have taken all the skills from them to startups, plus everything else that I've done in the sales background, and gone, this is my value. I'm interested in people. I'm interested in people learning, as so should they be. And I'm interested in how I can help people across the UK so far connect with their tribe. Because again, it's a really critical time for them to do that. And because when you're a one person, like, just for me, if I start out in videography, I have to go to YouTube. And even though YouTube's only going to teach me so much, like, I would prefer to go out with one of the guys in Newcastle from Mediaborn. Like, we can get our cameras, shoot some videos, and learn that way. That's just my thought process of learning. And I think we can do that in a way where they are going, I don't need this multiple hat. I need to deal with creating the app, the website, the social media. And startups don't know that. Solopreneurs normally go in and be like, right, I've got this idea. There could just be a tech guy, which means I have no idea how to sell it, no idea how to say things, because they're all technical minded, all about jargon, which people aren't going to understand. So if that tech guy can connect to someone on the Wocal platform who's got a background in sales and go, right, what's your app do? What is your idea? What have you designed? This. You need to put it like this. Happy days. That guy's going to feel a bit more valued, a bit more that his ideas, like, kind of being a bit more increased creativity, and learning from that other individual. Same way around, that guy might go, oh, yeah, app has this function. Can you tell me a bit more detail? And so on.
Yeah. I think you were spot on there about the failure stuff. I've always said, if you consider failures, but if you take something away from a failure, can you really consider it a failure? If you took something away and grown from it, the perfect case study for that, you've took everything that you've learned and put it in one place. And I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of founders, they fail, but they fear the failure as well. They don't want to push a website, or they don't want to push a product because they're scared as well. But then when it ultimately does fail, they feel like even worse. Yeah. But on the flip, they shouldn't, because those times are invaluable. You learn from those things and you put it into new projects. And I like your story there about you coming out of the coffee shop with your now co-founder, I'm guessing.
No, so unfortunately, not co-founder. No, unfortunately not.
But the idea was there, and you were the problem that you're solving now. It's a personal problem. You've had that problem.
Yeah,
you're trying to find spaces, and that's great. I like when founders have a real connection to the problem, instead of just like being, oh, I guess I like this, and I'll talk about this. You actually experienced it.
Yeah.
So we know that entrepreneurs are getting value from Wocal. We know that hospitality are getting value from Wocal. What do you see the bigger picture for Wocal?
Oh.
So let's think big picture. Where do you see Wocal going?
Normally people say I'm crazy because I've got big dreams, and it's true, I do. I vision Wocal as the go-to platform for anyone starting a business, because our end goal is to I missed the vital part out of what our growth is sort of going to look like and how we hope that it's going to turn out. But the vision is the go-to platform like you would go to for Amazon, Gymshark, as Gymshark grows now, Adidas. We want to be the go-to platform for anyone starting a business. And the reason for that being is because I say we, I mean, I and Hubert, but it started out as me. But I say we a lot because it was sort of born up from ideas and sort of problems that we're going through at the time. So anyway, tangent over. So I can't remember. Sorry, what my process has just gone there. I thought
big picture, Wocal, big picture.
Yeah,
what are you thinking?
So the go-to platform, because we want to reward people for connecting, for learning, and for using the public spaces for that. But at the same time, we also want to be a place to go where you can find, and I know this is probably going to sound unrealistic to people, but a place where you can go to find like mental retreats and stuff like that, where we wander together, we work together, and we lead each other, and that's what we want to be about. So that's my vision and how we're going to do it, and how it's going to help. Obviously, what I wanted to start out in is the hospitality industry. So yeah, it's just, I think the biggest value for me is knowing that people are connecting face to face. And I think that's it's going to be the hardest task, because it is hard to get people to put the phones away. But again, I think there's going to be a huge change in the way we want to actually connect with people again. Because I've seen it myself, where people are starting to be like, you know what, I'm done with Facebook, I'm done with Instagram, because what we see isn't real. It's not real life. It's just you open social media or the news straight away, you see the worst of the worst, the best of the best, the rich, the poor. And when you see that, it might not feel like it negatively has an impact on someone, but it can, without you knowing, because you've taken all that information within a few seconds, a few minutes. And to be honest, like when you take that information, and it just tends to be another terrible day because something's happened over here, or coronavirus is impacting the world. We know that. But we need to try and take all that bad news away and just concentrate on what we're doing now today, and connect and learn, and see what our value is. I think, because I think a lot of people are in that, especially men. After doing some research, obviously when they hit the sort of early 30s to mid 30s, for some reason there seems to be a pattern of mental breakdowns, or they don't know what they're doing. They've been repeating the same thing. And again, for me personally, I've been through that by going through these different stages and going, what is it? Because I don't want to repeat the same day. That's my worst nightmare. But what can I do on a much larger scale? So that for me is introducing technology that kind of takes away the technology for me and you to connect, but hopefully next time without the computer screens.
I've got the biggest sense of community is big, not just for Wocal, but yourself as well.
Yeah.
Just in your own words, how important is community to you?
It's probably the most important thing. Like, it's, for business, we need, restaurant partners, like anything. And I try and not to sell Wocal as platform. I want Wocal to be a feeling, right? So when people think of Wocal, they go, I feel like valuable, I feel creative, I feel productive. We want to give them the feelings, not just going, here's Wocal, here's workspace. And that's not what I want to try and sell at all. But I think it's just, the community is definitely the biggest thing for me, because I think when people learn together, they kind of go, we should have done this a long time ago. And the second part is being able to connect these people in these local hubs that we're going to have.
Yeah, I like the connection thing, because, connecting people, we're trying to do it with Startup Grind as well. And I know a lot of people in the Northeast as well are trying to do it, connecting different ecosystems, startup ecosystems, things like that.
Yeah.
I think with Wocal, if you get them in a venue, a coffee shop or whatever, Wocal could be the start of their journey, their startup journey.
Yeah,
They could meet their co-founder there, their future co-founder. They could go on and make some great things.
100%.
And it all goes back to Wocal. I think it's a very
I
it's
think,
very needed. I think it's a very needed type of business. Sorry,
yeah,
you were saying.
sorry, I think it enables trust straight away. And I think that's hard to get. Normally, when people tell me they've got a best friend that they've never seen and they're across the other side of the ocean, I get that. But at the same time, we honestly don't know who these people are. Like, so I'm working with a freelancer now, Hubert, who's doing a really good job. He's well connected. And I had to do some research. Obviously, I'm like, I have to, because there's plenty of times when you might go down the wrong sort of pitfall and get yourself stuck. And I think that's the thing straight away, is that if you connect with someone in a natural way, you're going, right, this person is flagged up as being a part of who I'm looking for, who I'm looking to connect with, then it's kind of taken out the work for them to kind of not feel complicated. Because I think now we've got ourselves in a position where people will be more comfortable dropping a direct message on Instagram, like, hey, how are you? Or on Facebook, hey, how are you? And we'll have that available. But as soon as we've got that, we want to take that away. Like, go and have that conversation. Don't, like, if you feel frightened, it's overcoming these barriers that we face. You get a brick wall, you might feel mentally that you're gonna go, I don't feel like introducing myself, because we've got used to this cycle of how we introduce ourselves. So we want to take that away, but we also want to make sure people are comfortable in doing that. So I love to think of the idea as challenging people at the same time. So like, I'm massively into knowing about mental health. So I'll say this, and I don't struggle from anxiety myself. I know obviously it comes up, and people have it in different ways. There's different sort of levels to it, but it's like asking for a cup of coffee and going, can I get 10% off? Right. If you ask 10 like coffee shops and you ask for 10% off, worst case scenario, they say no. Straight away, you've overcome this barrier of feeling comfortable. You've gone, wait a minute, I've just got an answer that said no. I'm still here. Nothing's bad happened. And it's just like simple ways of going, you can feel like you're more powerful than sort of who you think you are. But we don't feel that because we're not connected with the right people. Our friends might support sort of what we want to do as a business. They might not, same as our family. And again, it all goes back to connecting and finding your tribe. And that is what we want Wocal to be about.
Yeah. In an age of social media, I think outside of the screens, we've kind of forgot how to be social in a way.
Swipe left or right.
Yeah, like, react, share, but in the real world, I think people's got a bit of, there is a barrier there. People don't want to network. They'll rather network on the phone, and then when it comes to actually having an in-person thing, they either delay it, which is no problem at all, but there's like, there's a hesitation. Do you think that will be a barrier for people coming out to Wocal at all, or
no?
No,
because I think we're going to have both options. So they have the option to send a message to that person, but if they get to a certain point, we want to kind of stop that, and we'll put maybe a layer in, so it kind of goes, this is not the way we kind of work as a community. It's all about human to human interaction. So it's just about that. So, but if they feel comfortable, if I look at my phone and I see someone's on the app there, and I see the skills and the match with kind of what I'm looking for in terms of, I need to learn something about this, maybe they can guide me in the right direction, then I can just tap on it and say hi, or I can just go, are you Stuart? Like, if I feel comfortable doing that, which I do, like, I think a lot of people are too concerned about getting judged or how they sometimes introduce themselves again. I'm not, so I don't mind just kind of overgoing the barrier. and just be like, "Hey, Stuart, I can see you on the Wocal platform. I would love to connect. Let's have a chat. Do you want to grab a coffee? Oh yeah, look, we're in a coffee shop." And that's it.
Yeah. I think rejection is a big one that stops a lot of people back as well. Your example there with asking for 10% off in a coffee shop, to some that might seem, oh, that's a bit cheeky, or that's a bit daring. Yeah. But it's a great example. And personally, has there been any barriers that you've had to overcome to realize Wocal, or any personal goals?
Yeah, loads. So many. I think you do as a solopreneur. I think at first, like, I'm so open-minded now about pretty much anything, but at first I was narrow-minded, and that's bad leadership. And I've tried to learn, because I've been under so many people that have technically classed themselves as leaders, and they're not. They're just bosses. Micromanagement. Just no. So being open-minded, I think, because when you have this idea, you envision it like tunnel vision. It's right in front of you. You're not going to get straight to it. Trust me. That tunnel's going to start caving in its sides before you get there. And that's the best part about the adventure. It's about going through them different stages. But I think having a discipline, and having kind of being fearless and being a risk taker, is some of the biggest strengths that you can have. And again, thinking about failure as actually a lesson, like, do it. Like, I think I was watching a different podcast, and one of the guys said, how would you tell someone to start something if they didn't know where to start? And I'd be like, right, first of all, is you would need to try and sell something. So go and get a self-employed sales job, be around people, learn how they're selling, learn what they're doing, learn how they're interacting. Get out of there. You're self-employed. You don't need to give anyone resignation. You don't need to hand in notice, and you can make money. Same as marketing. Try that. So sorry, I just lost my thought again, because I just went off on a tangent. I do this quite a lot.
It's the entrepreneurial mindset in you. You go down the rabbit hole.
So yeah, open-minded.
I was talking about sort of what barriers you were overcoming, or what you faced.
Yeah, so open-minded. Again, before I hired Hubert, I was kind of just had this vision, and I knew that I didn't want to be open-minded. I didn't want to be narrow-minded, because that's what scares people off, and they feel like their ideas aren't being thought about and stuff like that. And I've been in that position, and it's a terrible kind of culture to work in. So that discipline is definitely the hardest thing that I've had to come across, especially working from home, because it's just me and my partner. But she has a habit of finishing work. She does her day job, watches Netflix, plays on the PlayStation. So if I'm toddling downstairs when I've got a really important task to do, I see that and I'm like, that looks like a really good idea. Let me just sit on the sofa. Pass me the PlayStation controller. And you just can't, you can't keep doing that, or you'll just kind of lose focus. And that's why, again, sort of, you'll probably know this, is that it's important to have a set room for where you work. Because if you don't, if you're working in the kitchen, if you've got pets, or your girlfriend or your partner's walking around, that's easily distraction there. If you're in a deep space and you're focusing there, and a little thing happens, that's it. You sort of lose focus. And that's why, again, it's set up a little home space, set up a little workspace, and you're absolutely sorted. And the discipline to go through the tasks that you really don't like. And I have to do that on a daily basis. And as a solopreneur, you have to do these things one-handed. You have to learn how to sell. You have to learn how to market. You have to pick up the phone. You have to send emails. The calendar and all these sessions aren't going to fill themselves. You are the person running this business. So discipline is definitely one. And I think being able to, I did say something for the third one, but I'm going to change it. I think not being scared by opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So again, a lot of people will tell me that I'm crazy. I'd like massive dreams. On the other hand, people are saying that's a great idea. It's definitely doable. It's just about the right side, the right connection, and open-minded people versus closed-minded people. And I think that's where it's important. So you're going to get a lot of opinions. You're going to get people that you might fail. It's not going to work. And you just can't stop at that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been there as well. I've said to the people I've spoken to is like I've learned from bad experiences. So what I've learned from is, oh, it's a bad experience. Let's do the opposite of that. And that's how we grow as people. It's like, okay, at least we're not doing that. And that on the opinion side, I think that's so important as well, because especially very early stage founders, they're asking everyone about their idea, and less than half of them going to like it.
Yeah.
There's going to be very few that like it. And that could simply because they don't really get the idea quite quickly, or they don't resonate with it. Some people are just being, assholes. But it's understanding what opinions matter and who you choose to listen to. You can listen to everybody, but it might be the wrong thing. But it's you as a founder, it's understanding, say, okay, that was a bit of good information there, I'll use that one. I'll not really take anything from there because it wasn't valuable to me.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to listen, but selectively take in what information you feel is valuable.
100%, I agree. And I think that's why being open-minded is really important.
Yeah.
Because like if I take a staff member on who would be in the office or anything, the first thing I'd want to tell them is, any ideas that you have, let me know. Right? I don't want to just chuck them away. And if I say no to your idea, it's because I thought about that process either one already. I thought about it quick enough that it's not going to work, but I'll try and explain to them why, because again, like you said, it's important. So, and I think that's where all these skills come in. One person might not see what you're trying to do because you haven't got any experience in sales. And that's what you need to do. So go out and pitch it to as many people, friends and family, get feedback. If someone says no, someone says that's a terrible idea, why? Get them to explain, because like, even though they're saying no and you might not want to take that opinion, you try and get the feedback on why they say no. If they can only say no and that's it, then sorry, mate, you're invalid in this sort of conversation. You haven't got a reason why. So go and tell many people about it and get feedback. That's the best way of sort of overcoming objections that you're going to face. So again, sort of going back to Wocal, because I've got experience in sales, I was able to quickly phone people, quickly phone restaurant partners, understand the main objections, why they wouldn't have someone sitting there. And again, it only just goes back to, well, because we've had experience of someone coming in and sitting there for 5 hours over one coffee. No problem. This is how we fix that situation. But without me doing that, without me going and sort of getting feedback, I wouldn't know that. So that's all you've got to do. But you've got to know when these opinions, like you said yourself, matter and when they don't. And if you can think about them quickly and just say, okay, doesn't matter, yours is great. And I'm going to get them sort of moving further forward. There's going to be things that I haven't thought about, even though I'm like, this is going to be perfect, which it never is. There's going to be things that come up and I go, I didn't see that one coming. And it's not that I've failed. It's that it's just a little block in the road that's going to set me back that I need to now overcome.
Yeah, very true. I like the no, like no full stop. It's pointless. No with feedback is probably better than a yes, I would say, because you learn from it.
Yeah.
Yes is a nice to have, but no with a bit of feedback, again, it goes back to learning and just improving yourself as a founder and getting over certain fears. Early stage founders probably never sold anything before. But unless they try it, like you said, pick up the phone and speak to a target customer, they would never know. So I think the takeaways from here is overcome your barriers and ask more questions, because I think if you don't ask enough questions, you're never going to really find out let alone what you're trying to do, never mind what your customer's trying to get. So I
100%.
think that's very, very key there. So Andrew, from your founder journey, what's the biggest thing you've learned over the years?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Only the best in founder sessions.
What's the biggest thing that I've learned? I'm often sometimes in networking events, and someone normally one person in each individual networking event will say, you need to have like a sort of audience, like a problem already. Now for Wocal, when Wocal first started, there was no audience. That not necessarily an audience that would be looking for that space, and we're going into lockdown. There was no competitors in terms of like what we're trying to do. There's now 5, which, by the way, competitors, because I know a lot of solopreneurs are scared of like competition being there or competition not being there. Two things. Competition not being there, it's not a bad sign. You've got kind of a leeway on what you want to do and try and be the first to market. If there's competition there, it just means they've done half a job for you and found your audience. There's no bad way. And you know, I know people get scared. They're like, well, I've got this great idea, but Google could buy me out or something like that. It's like, well, it could, but you're not going to know until you try. And if they buy you out, well, you've got a great business, obviously.
It is,
So,
yeah.
but setting that aside, it's a really hard one to kind of go into because there's so many. You don't need money to start a business.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a lie. You need probably at least £20 to start a business.
To get your email and domain sorted.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think it's like I quit my full-time job earning money to earning no money when I started my videography business. And again, I did that because I was in a really bad position and I had no other option at that time. It's either this is the end or I go with this journey and try and continue what I'm doing and find my value and just kind of go through that. And I don't think I've ever spent more than £100 starting a business. I found I can go on Facebook ads and start like an ad for £5, find out who my demographics are. I don't have to waste £10,000 on advertising because I've learned all of these skills. So when people say they need money to hire someone, no, you can learn. Yeah, it's going to be a ball ache. Yes, it's hard work. And I used to moan to people like, you can quit your 9-to-5 job. Like you've got more value than I see. I see things in other people that they don't see in themselves. And that's it, sort of like something that just holds me down sometimes. Because it's down to that individual to help themselves, right, at the end of the day. But I always see value in everyone and what they do and what they can bring to the table. And when I see people in 9-to-5, I kind of see you're not living your life. But that's wrong of me because actually doing what I'm doing is hard. Try not to swear. Hard fudging nails. and because you've got to wear these many hats. But again, it just takes time. So if you are in a full-time job or a part-time job, don't quit your job like me. Have some at least funds. There's a huge freelance market to be able to outsource the work, which has been a huge part of the journey, and it's really important and it's good to do because again, you don't have room to complete all these tasks. And to do that, you need to do this adventure, this job that you're trying to do alone now. Because doing all these side times is going to take so much longer to learn. So yeah, it's just about starting a business. You don't need any sort of income straight away. You could literally get your domain name, make sure your brand name's available, and then get on LinkedIn, network with people. Again, make sure they're the right people to network with. And that's it. And people that way become more adaptable to your brand and what you're trying to achieve than a £1,000 ad Like, you have no idea what you're going to do, no idea who your audience is yet, because it's just an idea. And that way, so yeah. And I think that, again, it just all kind of goes back to Wocal. Here it all starts.
Yeah. No, it is very true. I think a perfect example, Founder Sessions is less than 20 quid. I just needed the domain and the email, and away we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's such good value that you just give there. So Wocal is launching in April this year, did you say?
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. Obviously, that's going to be a big milestone for yourself and everyone who's involved. But what else are you trying to achieve this year?
To make sure we live launch in April. Successful. So far I am just concentrating fully on Wocal. I think the next part of this, and what we're going to try and start doing this year, is co-working pop-up stations. And again, just in our local venues. So we can have a co-working morning in the new City Hall in Sunderland. Great little coffee shop, massively open space. And again, it's just connecting with different people. So I think that's going to be a big part of our journey this year. And then next year, we'll have our second phase ready, which I can't talk about yet, but it's a very exciting time. It's going to be a part of the future. So I'm massively excited. And it's, again, like, I don't want an end result for Wocal. I can't envision an end unless someone comes to me with a huge chunk of money and I feel like would be a great fit for the business. I don't see it as, like, I can't imagine the end, like, just constantly growing. Because I mean, I've had a 5-year plan now for product introductions, how we can increase, like, what benefits the community again, what benefits the venues again. So that's 5 years planned straight away. And again, it's just going, right, how are both people what can we do to help both of these while actually earning some sort of revenue to keep doing business? Or I wouldn't charge people, but I have to, or I kind of don't get to enjoy my living. So it's just about that.
Very cool. And April seems like the big month.
Yeah, well, it's my birthday in April, so I decided to try and launch it then. So, you know, I'm either gonna die an old man, or get too excited and possibly pass out. But it's been a great launch. I'm in touch with every member that's signed up so far. So I'm always on Zoom calls with them, finding out, you know, what they do, kind of feedback. So again, it's not just a platform. It's going to be a huge community. Well, that's what I hope for it. And we can't wait to get our restaurant partners on board and grow the community and see how big it goes.
Exciting times, exciting times. I love hearing stories like this when founders are just like months away from the launch and they're nervous, but they're so excited as well.
Yeah, no,
Good to hear. It's good to hear. So Andrew, we're nearing the wrap up here. My last question is, just give a few minutes to pass on some advice to founders. What's the best advice you could give to founders on this podcast today?
The best advice. Ooh. Again, so many things I could probably try and think of and share. I have to go back to failure. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's two things that when I first started YouTube, I was scared. I had to put myself out there. I'm a guy behind the camera, right? Shooting the videos. So for me to get in front of that camera, I was nervous. I was like, you know, I let people kind of judge me how I look, even though, again, I kind of stopped that now because no one's walked in my shoes. No one's lived my life. And you've got to remember that when people are giving you opinions, it's based on what stage they're at and all that stuff. But it's kind of going back to that and just making sure that, again, I'm losing my train of thought today. Honestly, I'm so terrible. It's because I go off tangent, isn't it?
It's all good.
But yeah, don't be scared of failure. Don't wait for a perfect time, because I tried to be a perfectionist. It will keep holding you back. So, and it's hard to get past that point and overthinking is okay, but at certain points. And again, these are just problems that I've faced. Being a perfectionist, there's certain things that I try to perfect now, but just doing it is the best thing that you can start. Just start, basically.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you so far, Andrew. This has been some brilliant insight there. I just want to give you a chance now just to call to action, anyone watching. Where do you want them to go? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I should be one of the first people to come up as Andrew Crossley. I'm sure it'll be linked in the podcast.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to drop me an email or a direct message on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with like-minded or different kind of like-minded people. And I think the biggest thing I want anyone to take away from this is go and connect, go and think about your dreams, go and share them with people, take on all the feedback, good and bad, and go and make your dreams come true.
Fantastic. And follow Wocal across all the platforms as well, because
I was waiting for you to do that. I was testing it.
Always got to give shout outs to the guests. But no, Andrew, thank you very much for coming on the podcast today. We've gone through a lot and the hours went past really quickly.
It's probably because I go off on a lot of tangents. I start talking about one thing and then another thing pops in my head.
No, tangents are good. There's another takeaway for people listening.
Yeah.
So to everyone watching, I've been Carl, this has been Andrew, and thank you very much.
Yeah.